ففروا إلى الله إني لكم منه نذير مبين ولا تجعلوا مع الله إلها آخر إني لكم منه نذير مبين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, today we'll be discussing about managing an epidemic or a pandemic. I'm going to start with the introduction. What is an epidemic and what is a pandemic? We say we have an epidemic when we have an outbreak of an infectious disease in excess of normal in a particular environment over a particular point in time. And when the outbreak has crossed the international border, like we have now globally, we have a coronavirus infection affecting the world as a globe, we can say we are dealing with a pandemic. But when it is concentrated in a region over a point in time, we say we are dealing with an epidemic. And before we can talk about an epidemic, we need to talk about an infectious disease. What is an infectious disease? Infectious diseases are diseases that we get from microorganisms. When microorganisms infect an individual, maybe from the organism when it affects human being, an organism can affect an animal, and the animal can at the end of the day affect a human being. And human being having the organism, when they are infected with the organism, they can as well affect themselves. So when human being affects another human being, we talk about human-to-human transmission. When we get an infection from animal, we talk about animal-to-man transmission. And when we have animal transmitting infection to man, we normally call it a zoonotic infection. Now, what are the kind of microorganisms that can cause infection? We have bacteria that can cause infection. We have different types of them. We have viruses that can also cause infection, and we have a lot of them. We have parasites that can cause infection, and we have a lot of them. Now, we're all familiar with what had been happening in the past. For example, in Africa, especially in the sub-Saharan Africa, when we have Ebola epidemic. That one was around 2014, and Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put an end to that. Currently, we are dealing with coronavirus. And coronavirus in 11th February 2020, the World Health Organization, they coined the name and changed it to COVID-19, which is the same thing as coronavirus infection. Because, as I said earlier, it is now a pandemic. All over the world is affected. Globally, we have a lot of people that have been infected, and by now they are dead. When we are dealing with an epidemic, everybody is involved. Everybody, both an individual, both the state, and both the government. Everybody has to put their hand on deck, and nobody has an eye for rest or to sleep. So now, like we're talking about coronavirus, what are the things that are predisposing a lot of people to coronavirus? What are the behaviors? What are the habits that are predisposing us to coronavirus? Before I go on, I want to remind us once again that, like I said, coronavirus is caused by a virus. And this virus, we cannot see it with the naked eyes. And that is why a lot of people are now denying the fact that coronavirus is in existence. Yes, it is in existence, and we as Muslims, we should know that it is one of the trials from Allah. It's not everything that we can see, but we should have it in mind that they exist, because that is one of the beliefs of a Muslim. Now, that coronavirus we're talking about, initially in Nigeria, as a case study, we were having imported cases. What do I mean by imported cases? Imported cases in the sense that a lot of people that travel from a place where they've already had an epidemic, when they come into Nigeria, they come with this infection, and by so doing, they were infecting other people. And by February and March this year, we're having what we call imported cases into this country. Presently in the country, coronavirus cases that we have, they kept increasing, and nobody is sure what the number can be. But everybody has to put their hands on deck so that the number will not keep increasing. We have to do something tangible to reduce the number as much as possible. So, like I'm said, a lot of factors are responsible for the spread of this coronavirus. The habits, the way we deal with ourselves, the way we communicate with people, and our day-to-day, the way we relate with people around us matters in the spread of this infectious disease we're talking about. So, like I said, we need to modify the way we relate with people, the way we engage in ourselves, and we should try as much as possible to cooperate with the government and cooperate with the medical personnel so that we can have a positive result in dealing with the coronavirus disease pandemic.
ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين.
So, as part of the behavioral that is aiding the spread of the coronavirus, I would like to talk about the hand hygiene. Presently, a lot of people are just washing their hands. They don't even know why they wash their hands. We all know that we touch our hands, we use our hands to touch a lot of things. At the end of the day, whether consciously or unconsciously, we end up putting that hand into the mouth, we end up putting that hand into the nose, and we end up putting that hand into the eyes. By so doing, the coronavirus we're talking about will use the opportunity to enter the mouth or the nose or the eyes and go into the mucous membrane. By the time it gets into the mucous membrane, it's going to stay there and start causing some pathological effects that will eventually cause problem for the person that is being affected. And when a person is being affected by coronavirus, it might be something that will not show immediately. It can take days before the symptoms or signs start to manifest. And when somebody is infected, what are the things they can present with? Some of the things they can present with is, one, they can start to have fever, a very high fever, that at the same time they can start coughing. And when they start coughing, by the time they cough and they don't do the normal thing they should do by observing what we call cough etiquette, they start spreading it. Because this coronavirus can be spread by aerosol or droplets. When we are in a stuffy room and we have a lot of people there, by the time the person that is infected coughs, and a lot of people that is there, they are not protecting themselves either, they are going to be infected. And when this person doesn't observe cough etiquette, and what do I mean by cough etiquette? It is even the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that when you cough or you sneeze, you cover your mouth. So when they observe a cough etiquette, you don't cough into the hand, but you can use a toilet roll, or you cover your nose with a face mask, or you even use, when you use a toilet roll, immediately you stop coughing, you drop the toilet roll into the dustbin. And when you are coughing and you are using a face mask, it's an opportunity for the droplets not to get out of the mouth of the person, to just stick to the face mask, and other people around that person is going to be protected. Another way by which we can observe, one of the strategies by which we can prevent infection or infestation is by what? By having a distance, what we call social distancing. Some people are calling it physical distancing. By having a meter or 3 meters distance between you or other people that is going to be around you when somebody is coughing and when somebody is infected. And when such is happening, the person that is presenting should do what? They should present themselves to the health facility. When they present themselves to the health facility, they seek for help and they are going to get treated. Another way by which we can stop this infection of the coronavirus is what the government is presently doing. Like I said, we have a lot of strategies in plan. Presently in Nigeria, some states are experiencing what we call lockdown. When we stay at home, and by the time we stay at home, is like staying at home so that we're going to stop the transmission of the infection from one person to the other. And by so doing, even if somebody is exposed to somebody that has the infection from hand, the person should do what we call self-quarantine. And when you do self-quarantine, this person is going to stay at home for a particular period of time, let's say like 14 days, so that by the time you have the infection, and if it is a mild one, the thing can just run its course without causing much problem. But when you now realize that it's now getting to moderate or severe infection, we need to call for help so that the people in charge of the treatment of the infection will come and carry the person and take proper care of the person. Another thing that we do is that when such a person, because it can go from mild, moderate to severe situations, and some of the severe situations we can have is what we call, it can go into what we call pneumonia, infection of the lungs, and it can as well go into what we call acute respiratory distress, that the person might end up using a respirator or a ventilator that will help them to breathe properly. And eventually, if that person still couldn't make it, it can end up into death. And we should not forget the fact that this thing is highly contagious. When they are telling us to stay at home, we should stay at home. And by the time we stay at home, that shows we are stopping the transmission, we are helping other people, and we should remember that one of the things Islam teaches is that you should not look for harm. When you don't look for harm, you should not harm yourself, and you should protect your other Muslims, your other members of the Ummah. You shouldn't harm them too. It is one of the teachings of Islam. And by staying at home, you are stopping the transmission of the COVID-19 infection or coronavirus infection, and you are going to stop the transmission from one person to another. We are stopping the spread, and by so doing, we can put an end to coronavirus together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan. Za is for zakah, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. Sa is for salamun alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum as-salam.